I'm here to talk today about our brain using a hand model. So if we put our thumb in the palm of our hand and close our fingers like this, we have a little brain. So this can symbolize our downstairs brain, which is our hypothalamus, thalamus, amygdala, and we're going to say this little tip of my thumb is the amygdala because the amygdala is like the size of a little almond for symbolism purposes for later in the video, and that this is our limbic system, and this regulates emotions. This puts us into fight or flight mode and how to react to danger, and this has to be working so that this, the cortex, the logical, thinking, cognitive, sensory motor, and all that stuff can work in our brain. And then my wrist is our brain stem, and that connects to the rest of our body. Well, the limbic system, my thumb here, kind of works as the pathway between the cortex and the primitive brain. So it's like the gate. Well, the gate cannot be open if our little friend, the amygdala here, starts saying, hey, whoa, something's going on, this isn't safe, this isn't okay. I'm alerting us, we need to either fight or we need to run away for the fight or flight. Well, if Mr. Amygdala does that, the gate closes and our lid's flipped, meaning that we can't access this top part of our brain. We can't attend, we can't learn if something triggers us. Now that's a great system if we're being chased by a shark in the ocean, but for everyday learning, for everyday just living, not being able to logically think, use judgment, learn, or attend can be very detrimental. Also, when the limbic system is going off, it's shooting the hormone cortisol through our body, the stress hormone, in response. If we're in constant stress, that's not great on your body. That's like using a computer that's hot and burning up too fast, and eventually it's going to run out. So what we've been able to do is when our amygdala is going off, we're not able to use this top part of our brain in order to reason whether if the amygdala, our watchdog, is what they're barking and saying about is logical or not. For example, I was doing my classroom observation in a 3rd through 5th grade classroom for my ed psych class, and they watched a video by Cosmic Kids, and it explained the amygdala as being the watchdog, which we've used for this video, and that the cortex, or the prefrontal cortex, this front part of our brain right here that helps us think and use judgment and cognition, as our owl. Well, the owl can't work if our limbic system is closed because the amygdala is barking. So what happens is we flip our lid and we're only using this part of our brain to think and process because we're in survival mode. We're not in learning and thriving mode, we're surviving. So what happens is, because we can explain to kids that this is what's going on, they're able to take a second and recognize and go, whoa, my amygdala is going off. I need to take a second. I need to calm myself down and cope with this situation. In the classroom I was in, they have this thing called a Calm Cafe, and it's basically just a small area with a bean bag and different things and different strategies where kids can learn how to calm themselves down, because this was an emotional disorders classroom. But even us as adults in class can do this, where you can take 2 minutes to calm yourself down by doing a breathing strategy, going to get up, take a drink, take a break, whatever you need to do, because you're not going to be able to do the task that is so important that you can't leave if your lid's flipped. So how this applies to an older population, for example, my high school boys that I work with as a TA, is we allow them to, it's called a self-take 2. They're allowed to go in the hallway and not talk, or talk to the TA about the situation for 2 minutes and breathe in the hallway and come back in. So they're able to be like, whoa, my lid's flipped. I need to take a second so I can put it back down and go back into the classroom and learn. So this is super, super important when dealing with kids that are have trauma situations, because their lid has been constantly flipped and they're in survival mode and they're trying to learn how to regulate this because it's constantly going. And so that can make learning really, really difficult. So remember, the owl can't work, or the owl can't communicate and help us have our higher learning if our watchdog's constantly barking, and that our limbic system is kind of like the telephone between the two so that they can talk and communicate, work together. Well, that's my video on the hand-brain model. Have a good night, guys.